Hello, my juicy peaches, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Priestess Peaches, aka Jackie Lane from yourpeachylife.com. I mostly support ambitious women in long-term relationships with love, pleasure, well-being, and business. And in today's video, this is actually the first episode of many candid conversations with my beautiful soul sister and co-host of the Sisters of Eros 4-week program with 2-day in-person play shop retreat for women. So Claire is an advanced yoga instructor, an Ayurvedic massage practitioner, a pelvic health facilitator and mentor for women with over 10 years experience in the wellness and empowerment field. Claire runs a retreat and yoga business in the beautiful English countryside in Canterbury in Kent. And we have come together to be the vessels for Sisters of Eros. We have co-created a powerful, sacred, intimate, deeply healing and expansive experience for women to journey through 6 archetypes: the sensual, the feminine, the erotic, the dark feminine, the goddess, and the priestess. And in this episode, we discuss the importance of sisterhood, releasing perfectionism, your authentic expression, being seen in the erotic, and the healing and value the erotic brings, and many other juicy things. So this was an unplanned discussion. We really wanted to see what flows in the moment, and so we really hope you enjoy it.
We're both going through our individual life, life is lifing.
Yeah.
It feels like all of that is welcome here, and it can come here, even if we don't speak about it, it's here and it's being held in this space, because I feel that too. And yeah, I feel emotional because it's all of our challenges are held here and being loved and nourished through this.
Thank you. As you were talking, I was feeling like at the moment, like I'm being tossed around by the sea. And as you said, like all of me is welcome. I had this just immediately prior to that, I had this feeling of like, I have to hide that. I have to hide the being tossed by the sea. And I have to like pretend to be the swan or the duck, not just on a pond that's, clear and still, but on top of an ocean that's
stormy.
Yeah. And as soon as you said, that is welcome here, we might not talk about it, but it's welcome here. It suddenly made me feel like, oh, I'm part of the ocean. It made me feel like I'm not on top trying to ride it. I'm not on top trying to ride it and pretend to be like that swan or that duck. I am the ocean. And I bring that with me. And there's a oneness, a settling, so that it might still be there and doing its thing, but like that's what I'm bringing, and it's welcome, which is just so beautiful. So thank you for that.
I like that's so powerful what you just shared, because it's given me permission as well, because sometimes as I'm speaking it just comes out and it doesn't necessarily, it's like, even though I'm saying that for both of us, it doesn't fully land in me. And then you sharing that, it reflects it back to me, and then it lands in me, and I'm feeling welcome too. Like I'm feeling that permission to, like, my messy humanness we are, like, of course, divine beings and very professional, as we like to say. But it's also that behind the scenes, the messy humanness, and that is divine, so I love that I love that we're both here. I feel like we're both landed fully, and no pretending, or it feels we can be authentic, even if we don't feel sorry.
I don't feel like we could be any other way, actually,
Yeah.
because we know each other so well. And I guess we'll talk about that in a bit. But because we know each other so well, we can go there, we can be
Yeah.
that, and we can lead and facilitate and create magic and ride the waves. And I feel like we'll talk about it as well. But when we did the photo shoot for the Sisters of Eros, it allowed us to ride the journey of how we're going to take people and where we're going to take people. And it was really humbling because it made me and you kind of realize we're still very much in it, you know.
Yeah.
And it drew up a lot of emotions for both of us, where we are in our own journeys, even having learnt so much and embodied things and then forgotten how to embody it and then coming back into embodying it.
Yeah.
Like it's really humbling to kind of at the same time realize our journey and how far we've come, and at the same time realize we fall and we rise, and we can be really tender, and then at other times be really strong,
Yeah.
and have fun and laugh and all of it. So in that's how we're going to facilitate, you know, authentically. We're going to lead, we're also going to be a part of the journey, and we're also going to be very much journeying with where we're at the moment at the time, and that's the gift.
Completely. And it's overcoming that, like, for me, sort of perfectionism, or like playing certain roles and performing, and actually coming into that vulnerability. And when we went through the photo shoot journey, it was afterwards that everything came to the surface of what we'd just been through. For me, it wasn't like during it was kind of afterwards. And it was really emotional for me. And also, like, I'm getting emotional now, but it made me just appreciate sisterhood so much, because in my life, as you know, for the past few years, like, I've not had that. And connecting with you, it was just beautiful for me. And I feel like everything that you're saying resonates so deeply. And I've been bringing walls down to really express authentically and really step into the parts of me that I know I'm here to be. And that journey was, like you said, incredibly humbling, because I realized some of the aspects of the archetypes within me have always been in performance mode rather than just genuine expression mode. And that was like eye-opening for me to feel that vulnerability. Because when I'm in that performance mode, I mask that vulnerability. And we spoke about, the different ways, especially like the erotic we went into before, like how that may not express sort of stereotypically, and how we want the women who are going to be part of this to express authentically too, and not to perform or not to try to be like whatever someone else's expression is. And I feel like it was so powerful to go on that journey ourselves and be witnessed in that, because now we have a deeper understanding of things that could come up for other women, like you say, that we can really guide them through, even if we're still going through it ourselves. Like that is where the power is, you know. Like, we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to
it's like
to
being
be
a
able
finished
to,
product, isn't it?
yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
We're evolving, and the journey is maybe a spiral. It's maybe an up and down.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a straight road, and it's just a matter of like, maybe you can't see what's ahead, but you're taking steps forward anyway. You're making movement.
Yeah.
And I feel, yeah, it's interesting what you said about your perfectionism, you know, and how it's been a case of keeping your heart opening and bringing the walls down. And I
Yeah.
love that, because I can feel it so much that you're holding that space. Like you are practicing bringing the walls down. And in so doing, you're like giving me permission to actually not be strong. So my thing is about the duck and the swan, about maintaining a level of like, everything's fine, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing. And underneath, I might be cracking and breaking, and actually, I might be at rock bottom. But somehow, I'm doing this swan thing, like duck thing, at the top. And yeah, and then when you're saying about performance, being in performance, my thing for that is at the, not the other end to you, but maybe the other end to some people, where I feel too much, you know. And that's one of the things that I battled with when we came into the erotic, and maybe even the dark feminine was
Can you, yeah, tell me what you mean when you say you feel too much?
too much at the time. I feel like just being me, and actually being me, I feel is a lot because I'm not always that open to sharing. And when I do open afterwards, I almost feel like, oh, you know, and I want to go
Yeah.
back. So then I'm having to deal with that. Like, oh, I wish I could take it back. Like maybe I could have just toned it down and been like 60%, not 110%.
Right,
Um,
okay. I
and
so know what you mean. Sorry.
my practice at the moment is of coming out of hiding. You know, it's like if I bring a symbol to what I'm trying to learn at the moment, it's from going like this, being like this, to like revealing
Yeah.
myself and being really open. So it's going to be vulnerable. It might look like I'm super confident, you know, in the pictures, and that I've got it, you know,
Yeah.
but actually it's going to be an edge to show
Yeah.
these pictures. And it's actually, as much as it looks like confidence on the picture, me now putting that out to the public is uber super vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's an edge that I'm having to work with even now, you know, like how I go about it, and safety within myself. And I think it probably brings into the conversation around the feminine in her erotic nature, and how safe she feels to be revealed in that power out in the world and in public, because of how it can be received, and how the world that we're putting it into at the moment currently doesn't celebrate the feminine. And
Yeah.
the only way it does celebrate it is by judgment and over sexualization, and then shaming and all the other things that come with that. You know, it can't just be seen for the beauty and the art of the creative force of the feminine energy in her full expression. No, you know, and the people that do see that, thank you, you know,
Yeah.
the people that can. And it's not that it just means that they're able to see. They're able to see. And the only reason why some people can't see, and it's not even their fault, you know, it's the way that we've been brought up, nurtured. It's, you know, from their own upbringing and all the influences that we have. So there's no shame in not seeing it as well.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like, yeah, my vulnerability is the safety in putting it out there. And it's not so much how people see me. It's when it's kind of yeah, like, I guess the dark element that can come through from being vulnerable and from society, as well as, you know, what's in here. And it's only in here because it does exist. And what we're trying to do is be revolutionaries. We're trying to change. We're trying to like make change for ourselves. And so making a change for ourselves, we can hopefully have ripple effects out.
You know? And I'm really seeing you coming out of your shell here publicly in this sense, because I, like, through that experience of the photo shoot, I know within that space, when we were in it, it's just us, but we know in the back of our mind, this is going to be for the public. This is going to be something we're sharing, that we're shining and expressing outwards. And I'm really witnessing you like coming into that space of being that example, like, and you having to move through those fears, which I have too, by the way, like maybe like they're similar but different, you know, but it's the similar fear of judgment. And something that sort of coming to me around this is that I'm aware that a lot of people reject these things due to a rejection of it within themselves and due to trauma, because I feel like this maybe sounds extreme, but I do feel like society has been traumatized through the manipulated perversion of the erotic and the abuse of it or the misuse of it. And so I do have compassion, and I feel like it's such a like incredible, courageous path to be on, to be expressing yourself online and processing through what comes back from that. And I don't know how to explain what I mean, but it's been a big fear of mine over the past few years, even just being on YouTube, even just being online at all, because of kind of social phobia type feelings, fears of what people are going to think. And working with you and coming back into this space and like bringing my walls down and opening up my heart, it's enabling me to like break through those barriers within myself so that I can give others permission to do the same. And if they're not in that space and it doesn't resonate with them and they've got their own judgments or fears or conditioning or wounding or trauma or rejection, abandonment of their own things, and that they project that out, there's a big part of me now that feels able to hold that or to not fear it. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I also feel like, so we've dived right into the middle, So in many ways, which is fine because we're in flow. And I think we'll stay here, if that's okay, with the erotic, because at some point we can flow into the softer versions and then into the divine and the leadership versions later. But I think my question would be, what is the point? After following on from what you're saying, what is the point of delving into the erotic, this energy? And interestingly, erotic, Eros, Sisters of Eros, maybe there is a reason why we're starting here on the erotic and flowing out from this point. Because I think it's probably the scariest bit for everyone. I think people will probably look at the other archetypes, be like, yeah, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Ooh, erotic. And maybe even the dark feminine might be okay, but ooh, the erotic, and it might excite other women. Other women might look at that archetype and think, this is what I want to explore. Yes, I feel it so much, but I haven't been able to express it. And I'm so excited. So yeah, and it's to acknowledge that everyone's going to come with different feelings and being drawn to different archetypes or having resistance towards the different archetypes for different reasons. So yeah, thank you for sharing and kind of leading us on, segueing us into the erotic even more, I think. So what is the point? What would you say for you? What is the point of going into the erotic? Why is it important to go there for our empowerment, our healing, our evolution, or even grounding?
So for me personally, I went through a few years of being completely disconnected because I was grieving the loss of my dad, and I was just not in that space after years of being wild and liberated and on a tantric journey and traveling Thailand. And I came back to the UK, then COVID hit, then my dad passed away, and I went into a deep depression. And because of this journey, I have recognized the value and importance of our inner erotic self and our erotic essence. It is literally everything. It is desire. It is our life force energy. It is medicinal. It is nourishing. And when it is loved, when it's treated with love and kindness, when it's treated with love and kindness, it actually really relaxes the nervous system and nourishes the nervous system. And for me personally, it's coming back home to my erotic self. It was like this huge shift in me and celebration. And I was elated to be feeling myself again and feeling that Eros, feeling yearning, longing, feeling desire, feeling energy, feeling vitality and joy and enjoyment. And I think at the core, it's after going through such a deep depression where I literally didn't some days have the will to live. There was no desire for anything. There was no motivation for anything. I just existed. And I did find beauty and value in such mundane things. But to come back to the erotic and that eros, that desire within me, it's like that is life force energy. That is how everything is created, is through that. And to feel the desire of anything, of wanting to express, wanting to explore, wanting to experiment, it has healed me. And it has been it's such a vital part of our existence. And so often when we shut it down due to mean, there's been times where it scared me. My erotic self has scared me. It's felt overpowering, and I felt a mistrust in myself because it's so overpowering. But when you're like highly conscious with it and you know how to work with that energy within you, and when you allow yourself to express those parts of you, it is completely liberating, and you get to know yourself so, it's like so intimately. And I don't know, I know there's so many tools and so many aspects of us that we can tune into and explore. But without this one, it's like this one is essential, I feel. And so many women don't realize that, how essential it is. And it's only once you start exploring it that you come to recognize the value and importance. And so the point for me, there's so many points, but it's been a way to come alive again and to feel my life is worthwhile and meaningful. And the more I access my erotic, the more I gift myself time, the more I allow myself to express in that space, the juicier life becomes. And I find myself coming more and more into flow and less of the, I mean, I refuse to push and force things these days anyway. I just refuse to do that. I do have like a standing firm, but yeah, I find that life, I am more in flow state when I am expressed and connected with my erotic. And it's so playful as well. It's like when we were like journeying through and like saying, you know, writing out our each one, when we got to the erotic, we were laughing and giggling, and it is so playful, and that it nourishes your inner child as well as your woman.
Yes.
So yeah, and that playfulness, like when as adults, you know, life can become so like weighed down with responsibilities and taking life too seriously, and the erotic comes in and it's like, no, we're gonna have some fun. And that is like, yeah, it's just such a powerful reminder. And it's so needed because there's so much heaviness in this world.
And seriousness, you know, like taking life seriously. It was, do you mind if I just kind of share?
Can I say just, maybe we should come back on the call because it's only 2 minutes left.
I was going to try and fit it into 2 minutes.
Oh wow, okay, go for it. Do it.
So I feel like you shone a light, you know, there's nothing much more to say. All I was feeling was, and a lot of compassion for your journey, because we disappeared from each other, you know, understandably, when you were going through your journey. And like this journey into co-creating Sisters of Eros, like not only have I seen you almost, it's resurrection, you know, like yes, us working together and weaving has just been beautiful, and it's been lighting us both up massively. So yeah, just appreciating what a big journey you've been on, and how far this is for you to come here, you know, and be doing this and sharing this now. And it made me think of nature, you know, like you've very much gone down into the roots. You had to bring your energy down into the murk of the mud, into the ground, and be there where it's hard, uncomfortable, challenging. You don't know whether you're going to come back up, but somehow you found the thread of the life force from the earth, you know, from the murk, from the mud, up, 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 up. and you're now coming into that very spring like blossoming. And it made me realize, you know, all the plants, they're being erotic when they bloom, and they're like showing their colors, and their pollen is standing out, and they're like me. That is a plant's eroticism, and this is your journey. And I think we can all resonate with that journey. And sometimes we won't feel the eroticism because we're in the roots, you know, where we need to be for restoration. And the other point, if I can, is with the hips. I feel like erotic movement is very much like leading from the hips. And I feel like so often we're sat for long periods of time. Even our exercise regimes might be, you know, tuck the bottom under and move from there. There's not much hip movement. So I feel like just in the moving of the hips gets us moving. And we're very much a society of like rigid hips, you know. Like if you look at Brazil, everywhere else, they're like, and Africa, you know.
Yeah.
We are leaving it there this week. There'll be more to come next week. Thank you so much for watching. The links to claim your space at the Sisters of Eros 4-week program and 2-day retreat are in the description box down below, as well as the links to our websites and other offerings. Have an amazing day, and remember to keep it juicy.